Wilson Morales, Black Film TV. You know, when you do a movie like this where you're adapting it from a book, what are the challenges of putting in your style without being repetitive to what you may have done before?
Oh gosh, I'm kind of drawn to something new. That's the feeling. Like I'm aiming for some new color. That's what makes me do a new movie. You know, ooh, I've never felt that before. I'm always gonna be in the, what do you want to call it? Spiritual thrillers? I don't know. I just, or emotional thrillers. I don't know. The things that I equally am drawn to. I love suspense and mystery, and I love the depth of characters, and I love the art of cinema. So those things are always, I'm pushing myself and challenging myself to find a new way to do that. And I try to always be a student. So, and by doing things like working with brand new people and people that have never done cinema before, like giving them a chance, you know, that excites me. So like our composer on Knock at the Cabin has never done a film before. She lives in Iceland. I heard her music for a little TV show. And I said, hey, do you want to go do a big movie with me? And she was like, yes. And so that score that you heard was her first score. I mean, how amazing to see kind of a young vampire go at it, you know? It was amazing.
This is a little bit more modernized when you have a gay couple with an Asian child, because obviously if you think back 10 years ago, we would not be here.
Yeah.
You know, so now when people see this movie, they know they can get a sense as to when it may have been done. You know, was that the thought process when you were casting the characters?
Yeah.
Was that part of the book, or is that something you added in?
It was part of the book, which was lovely, but I felt the lean from the book was, that's not what the movie's about. That's not what the movie's about. That just happens to be the characters, great. And so I took on that kind of point of view, and it was lovely to just tell a story about a family. Each family is different and interesting and has its own pros and cons, and so this family has that as well. And how each family would deal with what these four individuals that broke into their house are saying would have its own prejudices and fears and limitations, and this family has very unique ones that it makes it hard to believe these four people.
A common theme in most of your films are family choices. You know, when you watch some of your films, it's like, oh, it's either this or that.
Yes.
You know, why so?
I mean, that's all I do, right? Is I spend my days, you know, I just got off the phone with my daughter and my wife, and I'm just, you know, we're trying to decide this or that, and, you know, that is the center of it, you know, and I always joke, you know, I was in Italy, and the press there asked me in a press conference, if you were single, would all your movies be about a guy dating and then the supernatural events would be happening? I was like, yeah, probably. I'd be just on some date that's not going well or going well, and then the zombies come or whatever it is. So in my movies, it's a family.
You mentioned the word supernatural. You know, do you read anything before you come up with a new premise? You know, how does this thing come up in your mind as far as, you know, when it comes to your films, we don't know what to expect.
Yeah. I have 3 movie ideas for the next 3 movies. I cannot wait to tell all 3 movie ideas. It all came to me in different ways, but I'm starting to sense how it happens, which is I go, well, don't think of it for you. Like, you know, like one idea was I was thinking as something for someone else, and then I started thinking when I thought of it for someone else, the answers started coming really easy. When they were saying, it was almost like someone said, well, would you do something in this vein? And then I went, well, I could do something like this. And when I made myself, the stakes weren't so high, and I was just saying, oh, it's for someone else, you know? And I think that muscle has grown because of Servant, the show Servant, because, you know, it started out like, you know, a few episodes, but we did 40 episodes, and so many of them, I'd say 26, 27 of them were just ideas that I came up with. And the freedom of just not taking yourself too seriously and just following an idea. And so I'm in a pretty good place with regard to the battle with my own demons to come up with ideas. I'm sure new demons will come and stop me in the future. So I'm happy, at least for a moment, that ideas are coming.
Hey, it's good to see that you always have new ideas. People are always intrigued to see what's going to come next. As the saying goes, we don't know what to expect, but people are going there because of intrigue. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Wilson Morales, Black Film TV. What came first, the role, the script, or the book? And why did you decide to do it?
First for me was the audition. So like the audition scenes. Then I read the book. No, then I read the script. Then I read the book.
Same.
Now, were you given a choice as far as what role you were going to take?
No, given no choice whatsoever, I think Knight had definitely decided, what he'd be interested in us playing.
So what went into saying yes? You know, when it comes to M. Night Shyamalan films, the saying goes, you never know what you're going to expect.
Yeah.
You know, so when you go into this, you just said audition. What led you to go into it?
I thought the premise was interesting, and I thought the sides, which are like the scenes that you audition with, were strange and fascinating and unique. And then I was a fan of his work before, and then on the Zoom audition that we had, he was inside of which is his farm in Pennsylvania. I'm also from Pennsylvania. And he was sitting inside of a horse stable that had been transformed into his office. And I am in the process of turning my dad's horse farm in Pennsylvania into like a creative space. And so it felt like kind of a sign.
You did it for the interiors.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, whatever it is, that's great. Because I feel like we're
Just want
connected.
decor tips.
Yeah.
What about you, Ben?
By the way, yes. When we went for that breakfast, I was like,
his place is amazing.
Yeah.
Similar, not the interior moment, but I was always a fan of his films, and was very intrigued just from the audition scenes. I was like, what is going on here? Which he wouldn't give me any more information, even when I did like an hour and 45 Zoom audition with him. He wouldn't give me any more info until I read the script, and then I was like, this terrifies me. But yeah, I'm interested and intrigued to see how we're gonna put it off and put it together.
Having done theater, was it a little bit at ease for you knowing the setting and you're not going far? You know, because you've done theater, so you've been in these closed settings. You know, was it a little easier knowing that you're just navigating in this one whole house?
You would think, but and Knight would often say that he thought it was like a play because it's a group of actors working in one set, but it was so different than doing theater in that we went pretty much in chronological order, which was great and is kind of like theater, but I'd never done a horror movie before, and I couldn't believe how intense it was. When you do a play, you do it over the course of several hours at night and then it's done. To be at that heightened state of like crying or anger or fear required a totally different thing than when you can just sort of do a one-off play. It was challenging in a way that I didn't anticipate. Having to, every time you were acting, be like, drum it up. Okay, it's like the end of the day and we're tired of these chairs and we gotta turn it on. It required a lot of focus to really drum up that intensity.
You guys are playing a couple. I don't know if you guys knew each other beforehand, but what did you guys do to get into chemistry so that we, the audience, see it?
We had a 2-week rehearsal period, which is quite unusual for any project, I think. And I think what helped us really bond was Kristen as well. And we were there kind of as a family, getting to know her. She's incredible. This was her first movie, so we kind of became her little acting coaches, obviously, as well as Knight. And something about, I remember you saying there's something about being around an 8-year-old, you kind of like, it kind of levels you all. You kind of all become 8-year-olds in a way. And she's so intrigued and asking so many questions. And I think that was a real kind of like intensifier for us all getting to know each other.
Actors can never stop learning, and each of you have done different type of projects. So coming out of this, what did you learn skill set wise from working with M. Night?
Great question. Well, every director is unique and different, and what Knight asks for is incredibly specific to Knight and to nobody else, which is the kind of directors I always want to work with, because I always want to have a completely singular, unique experience. And with Knight, he's got the whole movie mapped out in his head down to the blocking before you step onto the set. So the cameras are set up, he knows exactly how he wants it to be done. So finding the freedom and the humanity and the personal interpretation inside of his very specific vision was the gift and the challenge of the experience, and kind of working that muscle and finding your way through it when you're given a very specific set of circumstances was a fun, exciting challenge. And then we were watching Kristen learn how to act through the course of the movie, and she became an amazing actress. And the things that he would say to her, one of which was think the thoughts, is a huge thing that has stayed with me since working with him.
Ben?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything Jonathan said, and also I had come off of a film where I was doing loads of improvisation, and it was like super collaborative, and the director kind of finds out what's going on once you're on the floor, kind of you know, very organic. And like you said, Knight's process is complete, it's precision acting, and what you're doing as an actor is you're slotting into his vision, you're helping him realize his vision. You're kind of not creating it with him, you're just a part of all of the palette that he's using to execute what he's seen and what he's like razor sharp kind of planned and thought out. So it's a really unusual process, I would say, but a very exciting one, and very much a challenge. And yeah, like Jonathan said, you always want to work with someone who has a strong vision and who has a process, and he's all of that.
Congrats on the roles.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.